This is Barbara Ellistad with Mesquite Citizen Journal, and we are delighted today to have Morris Workman in our offices. We're actually interviewing the former editor of the Mesquite Local News. Yes, he is still alive and kicking, and we're just so happy to have you here. And actually what we're celebrating is the Nevada Press Association awards that were just released last Saturday in Carson City. And Morris won 7 first place awards of all of the newspapers in Nevada, different classes, different sizes, different circulation numbers. And he won 2nd place for one best multimedia story. But this is a guy who, since the day he started in the newspaper business in Mesquite in 2007, has continually won awards every year that he was in the newspaper business. And we are absolutely delighted to have you, Morris.
Thank you, Barb. Appreciate it.
So I think what everybody wants to know first off, all right, we're going to get to the awards in a few minutes, but everybody wants to know, where's Morris and what's he doing?
Mostly writing. It's funny because I've spent so much time writing for the newspaper, first for the Desert Valley Times and then with Mesquite Local News. And it's so deeply entrenched in my DNA now that I do it every day. It was almost like going through withdrawal for a period when I first left Mesquite Local News, and then when I started my website at morrisworkman.com, I continued the Workman Chronicles, which was the most important thing to me because that's got such a history and such a tradition here in Mesquite.
Yes, it does.
I mean, it dates back to 2005. So I wanted to keep that alive in some form or fashion, and so I started a website, and that was what I started with.
Mm-hmm.
And then that wasn't enough. I had to stir a little bit, so I added a column called Mesquitia, which is editorial, and then we won some awards for that. And I think that was one of the strengths of Mesquite Local News when we were there, was our editorial content, our ability to tell the truth and not hold back. And so we've continued that tradition as well.
Good. And
then pile on top of that, to try to keep people interested and keep people showing up, we continued adding different stories, and so right now we've got 7 different columns on there. So
you have a Dear Abner.
Dear Abner, it's one of our newest features, and it actually started a buddy of mine from high school after my reunion in 2009. I had talked to my buddy from high school, and we came up with this idea. Wouldn't it be funny to do a column, and it didn't have anything to do with the newspaper, it didn't have anything to do with my professional life. So wouldn't it be fun to do a Dear Abby type column, except give the guy's perspective? and my friend Rick has such a twisted sense of humor that we jumped on this, and we would take turns answering the letters. And it was a lot of fun, but he's in a very high stress job, and so he didn't have time to keep doing it, and my job kept getting busier and busier. So we eventually stopped doing it. Well, now that I've got time, I resurrected it, and I'm having a lot of fun with that.
It's got to be great.
My wife has a lot of fun with it, and my daughter has a lot of fun with it, because I've mentioned before, to borrow a line from Jeff Foxworth, I live in the estrogen ocean. I'm surrounded by women on every side. And so when they see my perspective and the advice that a guy would give, oh, they're loving it. And I know that I've written a good one when my daughter says there's no way I would ever listen to that advice. So I know I'm really getting it. So that's one of the new features that we're doing, and I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Well, good. But you're also writing a book, I understand.
And it's been a project that's been in the works for a really long time. It's been longer than 5 years, maybe 6 years. And it's a horror novel. It's called The Cabin, and so I finally had time to finish that, and it's finally done. And I'm very pleased with it.
Good.
I've got it out to a couple of publishers, and so now I'm waiting to hear back if any publishers are interested. And it's one of the things that is such a dramatic departure from what I'm accustomed to, which is news happens today, I write about it today, if it's really significant, we run it today. Now I'm in a situation where I've done all this writing, and now I have to sit and wait for somebody to make a decision. And anybody that knows me knows that one of the most severe character flaws is I have no patience. And so waiting for a publisher to make a decision, it's killing me. So that's the project that's finished. I've got a couple of other writing projects that are midstream. The one I'm working on now is kind of interesting. It's a series of short stories called Tens, T-E-N-Z. And the first one is Tends to Scream. And it's the basis of it is it's 10 stories in the book, 10 stories, 10 pages each. So the whole book is only 100 pages. And the thrust of it is to have something to where people are so busy today, they don't have time to consume a 400-page book. And so it's got shorter stories that have impact, that you can get your emotion rush, whether this one's called Tends to Scream, the next one will be Tends to Laugh, we've got Tends to Cry. So there's going to be a whole series of these, and so it'll hit at the emotions. It'll be a short, compact story that people can enjoy and not have to devote massive amounts of time. Of course, because my wife has that kind of sense of humor, it's going to be really good bathroom reading, because that's about how long a 10-page story will last you. So.
Okay. Let's talk about the significance of the awards you won from the Nevada Press Association. Any award is pretty impressive. But what I find interesting when I look at this list, in 2007, you won the Freedom of the Press Award for the Mesquite Local News. And again, in 2011, you won the same award, Freedom of the Press. Most of us are not familiar with what that award entails, what kind of stories you have to write or editorials. So explain a little bit to us about that particular award and its significance to you in particular.
It's easily the most important award that we've worked toward, because it epitomizes everything that I've always believed about the newspaper business, what my partner Cindy Delaney and I tried to create with the original Mesquite Local News. We tried to pull no punches. We wanted to tell the truth, because that's what so many newspapers today get blasted for, is they don't tell the truth, or they slant, or they hide things. And community newspapers are notorious for the fact they don't want to cover hard stories. They don't want to do anything controversial. They want to avoid upsetting the apple cart. And we always felt that it's really important for the people of a community to know the truth of what's going on in their community. So the editorials that we wrote were very hard-hitting editorials. And the thing that you don't know when you embark on something like Mesquite Local News in a community that already had a well-entrenched newspaper, you don't know how it's going to turn out. And you always get a lot of positive feedback from the people around you, because people, their nature is to be supportive when they're friends of yours. So you don't really know, are we really doing something good here? Are we really doing something important? Have we really gone off the deep end here? And to have an organization as prestigious as the Nevada Press Association recognize that. In our very first competition, we started Mesquite Local News in 2006. We started the website around February, March. We started the print in September of 2006. Our first year being a part of Nevada Press Association, we won one of their most prestigious awards. And so that meant so much to all of us at the office, because it was really it kind of substantiated what we were trying to accomplish, and it told me that people get it at some of those higher levels.
Do you remember the subject of that first award?
The Freedom of the Press Award, back then, it's kind of evolved now. Now you have to apply for it. Back then, you didn't apply for it. You didn't submit for it. They just chose it from all of your editorials. We had submitted for editorials of the year. But they had selected that in that first year. We didn't ask for it. As a matter of fact, when we got it, we were shocked. We were at the convention and we didn't know we were getting it. So when we were there and we got that, we were so surprised and so overjoyed at the fact that they had thought enough of what we were doing to give that award.
Yeah.
And again, coming out of the gate, being new.
That is pretty significant.
It was, and it meant a lot, not just to me, but to Cindy and to our whole staff. At the time, we had another partner who who she was also, Sue Hurley, she was also really pleased with it because she was coming from a place, she didn't have a news background. And so for us to go from that place and at the beginning to win an award that big in our first year, that really meant a lot to all of us.